Yeah, so I guess you can all see me, I hope, as well, because I can see myself. So I guess I can start, right? Eric. Okay, I guess that is a yes. Eric, should I like start?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yes, you can. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Okay, let me start with the introduction. So my name is Mark Gatere, and I'm excited to be here. Thank you so much, Eric, for the invite, and thank you so much, everyone who is joining. So I'm currently at Microsoft. I've been here for about an year, working with different teams, two different teams. So previously I joined as a Microsoft Garage and ecosystems intern, but currently I'm now in the software engineering team as also a software engineering intern, working with the Windows team. So it has been an awesome and exciting experience, and I'm really getting to learn a lot. And looking forward to sharing my journey or any questions that you might have. Feel free to ask, and I'll be ready to respond to them. So that is Mark Katere in a nutshell. I have quite a lot that is on regards to working with community. I've been a GDSE lead before. That is, I think now at the moment it's been referred to as a GDG on campus. So previously I've been a GDSE lead, which is now the GDG on campus at Dedan Kimathi University of Technology. And I've worked with other communities as well. I've been a Microsoft ambassador currently at gold level. I've been working with local communities in my campus, and I'm glad that even we've partnered previously with Alex in a number of sessions or even in a number of engagements in terms of community. So looking forward to responding to your questions in case anyone has a question. And I guess that is the introduction, but I'll be sharing more in the course. So thank you so much, Eric. So what should I like get into the I don't have slides or anything. I'll just be sharing and responding to questions. So should I get into the details?
So I can do it.
Yes, yes.
Sorry.
Yeah, yeah. Very excited.
So I don't know how the plan was. I don't know whether I was to get questions from the audience, then respond to them. But I can just start with a bit of my journey. That is kind of to set the pace for this conversation. So I got into tech or passionate about tech in while I was in high school, but I wouldn't say that I had an opportunity to really interact with a lot of things to do with programming, to do a lot of building while I was in high school because one, I didn't have a phone that I could even when I go home I could do some research, or even I didn't have access to a computer then, only the computer studies class where we had access to compute the computer lab. But I had that passion in tech. So not tech in general. I just had that passion of working with computers. So I didn't know where I will end up, but I was like, one day I'll end up working with computers. So I didn't know which direction to take or what to get into. I don't know which specific thing that computers do. It's only that it was one of the subjects that I was excelling in, and one of the things that I enjoyed. So when I was in high school, I got to learn from them that are ahead of us. That is them that were in Form 4 and Form 3, because in Form 2, that is when I got passionate about tech. Their careers in tech or careers working with computers, as my goal was. And they were saying that you can do, I don't know, web development. That is at that time, they were saying web development, the software, there's this and that. So in the course, as my passion grew, I started exploring more on regards to which courses can I get into to pursue my career or my interest, which is working with computers. That is at that time. So that is when I saw we have information technology or IT, we have computer science, we have computer technology, we have computer engineering, a lot of courses that have the name computer or they have the name technology. So I was ready to get into any. That is when I got also to hear about the Kimathi University of Technology and heard that they normally offer courses in IT and computer science. And they also the person we were in conversation with told me that it's a pretty good university if I go to Darren Kimathi and stuff. So they shared a lot about it because they were previously students in that campus. So they shared about how things I can experience or what they about the tech communities. Even actually at that time, I got to know about GDSE before I joined Darren Kimathi. That is, I got to see that Google has communities in campuses because I was in that final year. That is in that final in my final year in high school. I got to do after I'm done with my KCE see, I got to do a lot of research on regards to what am I expecting when I join campus. So that is when I, in terms of technology, got to see about the tech communities, got to see that Google has actually that was one of my companies that I wanted to get into. So I saw Google has a these are communities in campus known as GDSC, and I was like, wait, someone can work for Google while in campus. So I thought they like GDSC, when a GDSC lead or leading the GDSC community, you are kind of like employed by Google. So that is one the first I got to see. So I was like, one day I'll also get into big tech, and when I get to campus, that will be my entry point. So I got into Dedan Kimathi, and I found the community. The community was active. That is, I found the tech community. It was the like the GDG on campus that we have at the moment. So it was at that time it was called GDSE, and I got became active. So I from the word go, I remember attending the first tech meetup. I don't recall how knew about it or how I found the information about registering for that meetup. So what I remember is that I found myself in that meetup. So it was known as the Tech Cracker. It was the first event, I think, in 2 weeks after we've reported to the Nakimadhia's first years. It was in 2 weeks, and that is when I attended that first initial event. So when I attended that event, we had all the tech communities there. We had GDS, we had people even from now at that time I was calling them people from Microsoft, people from Google, but they were the GDSC leads, the MLSAs in campus. We had others who are leading the different communities. Even I remember from the word go saving the contacts for them that I saved them like assuming that I met, not assuming, like I met Pamela Chemutai, who was leading the GDSC community. Then I saved her like Pamela Google, and I met another guy who was also part of the MLSA program. He was known as Sam, so I saved him Sam Microsoft because I knew now these are the people who are gonna make me get into these companies because they are working for these companies. So I became more passionate about tech, and I was like, I want to get to that position where these people can lead us about different tech community, different tech engagements. Because I remember we used to go for different bi-weekly sessions where they covered different topics in tech. So it was quite exciting in that you're going there and you are learning about how to build an Android application, how to build a web application. I didn't know where I wanted to end up as well, as I've said, but you could go into different sessions, get to hear about this, get to hear about this. So my passion continued to grow. And that is why I'm always passionate about community, and I've always been a community advocate in that I've seen how community really comes in handy for them that are getting started. Because for my case, that is where my passion kind of I found the spark of on regards to what or where I want to end up, and even found a clear path to success. So that is why I really enjoy people when they are part of the community, and I'm glad that for everyone who is part of this GDG on campus EMBO community, because I'm pretty sure, not pretty sure, I would say most of people who join communities at times they know they want to end up in tech, but they don't know possibly where they want to end up into. Like, is it AI? Is it web development? Is it Android? But now when you're part of that community, you get to find your path easily because you get to attend possibly this session, get to attend this session, get to listen to this speaker, and then you find your passion. So I got to attend these sessions. I was actively attending, not only attending, but I was like quite inquisitive. I remember even there's this session that I attended for Android development. I really had a very bad laptop. My laptop, I wouldn't say very bad, but it was bad because I remember trying to install even Android Studio in the first go, and the session ended even without Android Studio yet running on my computer. So that is on my laptop. It was a desktop laptop. That is one that I joined with. So, and I'm saying this to just also try and encourage them that are joining tech. You don't have to. join tech even with as long as you are passionate, believe you me, you'll eventually in the long run you'll get to find yourself somewhere where you're looking forward to getting. So I got into the communities, I attended the web development sessions, and one thing that excited me mostly was machine learning and AI. So that is where I got into the AI community. I got into a community that was a decade known as the Data Science and Artificial Intelligence Club. I became active. This time I was actively sharing resources, even I don't know about them. Like I find something on the internet as I'm scrolling, something that I want people to read. I might not even read it, but because I see it's something to do with data science and I just copy the link and share it in the WhatsApp group. I go and find another resource. So I used to share a lot of resources. And at this time, even because of my kind of, I would call it, I had some kiherere of like, always it's zeal, it's that grit, or that you are you have the zeal to make it, or you have the zeal to get somewhere. So that zeal, at times I refer to it as kierere, which comes in handy. I become even the assistant class rep. So at that time I was sharing these resources as well in my in the WhatsApp group that we had for the class. So I continue sharing resources, and that is when people started asking, who is this guy who is sharing a lot of resources? Who is this guy who is sharing every day is sharing with us resources? So I became active first by sharing resources with people on social, different WhatsApp group that we had. If it's GDSE, I was in that group. I didn't talk a lot because I am not well skilled, but I did share resources because I was like, oh, this might help someone, or this might someone might read this and enjoy it. So that is how I got started. Then now that is when I got noticed by the leads then, and they kind of believed in me. I saw that there might be some potential in me because I'm always in events. I'm always ready to volunteer. I'm like, I want to volunteer for this event. In case we have this event, I want to help in registering people. I want to help with this and that. So that is how I think transitioned from me sharing now resources to now actively now volunteering. And at this time I've started upskilling as well, because I've gotten to interact with the leads, and I've even gotten some internet resources that I'm using. So this at times I'm even volunteering to go and share out the resources, to share out about not resources per se, but to share out about something. Like if it's styling with CSS, I share up with the bi-weekly session that we have for the community. I volunteer to share next week. And if it's about this specific thing, it's about data mainly, that was my core thing. I volunteer to go and share about how to get started with matplotlib, or even how to get started with the pandas. So those specific libraries for Python for working with machine learning. So I remember I got to volunteer a lot. So in the course, we had the GDC lead who was known as Pamela Chemutai at that time. So what Pamela Chemutai really encouraged us on is documenting what we are learning. So because she used to say you can write blogs, you can share on social media what you are learning. So even I remember from that first event that I mentioned, they really emphasized on share on Twitter. We'll give you swag for them that will have shared the best. So I didn't appear among the best because from the word go, even I don't I had not installed Twitter, or I don't know even if, I think I had an account, but I was not active, or I had just created an account about 2 months earlier. So they told us that people who will share the most on X or social media, that is X, using specific hashtags, will get something. So these they are telling us that you'll get a t-shirt, and you're like, wow, that t-shirt has the Google logo. It has some additional things to do with Andela and stuff. I think it's a program by Google and Andela. So when they said that way, I was like, I have to also get this t-shirt. So that is when I opened my Twitter account and started sharing. I had opened, so I logged into the account, started sharing using the hashtags. I didn't even mind how what I'm adding. If it's about when we're having the meals, I just take a photo. This tech cracker was overnight, so we had even the meals overnight. The snacks, I just take a photo, use the hashtag, share. So at the end of the event, that is when they continued awarding people. So I didn't get the awards for social media until now, when we were almost at the end, and it was one t-shirt to go. And I remember they were giving away a t-shirt and an Mandela pen, a pen that is from Mandela, and something else. So when they announced the winner, and I was like, it's Mark Gatera, I was so excited. So being that I had the t-shirt for Google that I wore almost every day. I remember I wore that t-shirt almost every day, not every day. So when I'm not wearing that, it's possibly on the hanging line or somewhere. That is, it's I've washed it, but I used to wear it because I was like, wow, I have a Google T-shirt, and it was quite exciting for me. So that shows I was really passionate about getting into Google or getting into big tech, but Google was my first company of thought, or where I wanted to first get into, because I met the GDC community, which was quite active. So now comes a time when I realized there's a Microsoft community in Dekut, and it's also quite active. So that is when I applied to become a Microsoft ambassador, and that is the MLSA program. And I was like, wait a minute, you mean the MLSA program has these benefits? And now this time I'm already active in communities. I'm already active in I've already become, even I remember how I was selected as the vice president for the Data Science and Artificial Intelligence Club. I remember it's because I was quite active in sharing resources, and the chairman at that time, or the president of the club at that time, was so, I would say they saw potential in me, and he was like, would you like to become the president of this club? I've seen you sharing resources of this, I've seen you actively attending our sessions. So, and I was like, yeah, I don't mind. I will try my best. So in the course, I had become the vice president of the Data Science and Artificial Intelligence Club in Dekut. And then that is when now I applied for the Microsoft Ambassadors Program, because I saw this program has a lot of benefits. From what they were saying, you're given cloud cloud credits, you're given a swag pack, you're given this and that, you're given these specific resources. So that is when I applied, and on my first application, I got the opportunity to become the MLSA. So I became so active in the MLSA program, because I remember later I came and also became the GDSC after. Well, I'm still an MLSA and concentrated on GDSC in a way. So there's quite a lot of information about that. Became the GDSC lead, led my community even from growing from about 500 members portal to about 1,200 members. I still have that on my LinkedIn. I've highlighted that somewhere because I was quite active in organizing sessions, organizing events for my community. And that was an exciting moment, because even now I go to work now or interact with Googlers who are likes of Sodiq, for them that might have heard of Sodiq. And we got to have another even community manager. So I was really enjoying that experience as well as the GDSC lead. But now becoming the GDSC lead, it was just 1 year tenure. So after I completed my GDSC lead, I became active again in leading now the Microsoft Ambassadors Program. So I really invested in leading the sessions. The other thing is that when now ADC became active with in regards to, that is the Microsoft ADC became active on regards to community as well. That is the events, because most events came up, and ecosystem events came up. We are having the .NET meetup events. We're having these events. I started volunteering. Even I remember how we met with my previous manager for Microsoft ecosystems. And that is the previous role that I was in, is because I was actively sharing what we are learning and what we are doing in my community in campus. So about the MLSA program. So after we are done with that, that is not after we're done with that, after I continued volunteering, that is when now I got the previous role, which I joined last in August, for leading the Microsoft, not leading, being part of the Microsoft Garage and Ecosystems program. So Ecosystems was more in regards to like how we are doing the ecosystem events, and Microsoft Garage is another program that is under Microsoft ADC, under Microsoft, but it's we have the Microsoft Garage East Africa here at ADC. So that was my previous role, and it was kind of in line on the previous one that we are having, that when I was a community lead, or leading the community in my campus, that is organizing events, making sure you are kind of a developer oriented event, and you are organizing these, you are planning about this. If this is the budget, you know that this is what we can do about it for this specific event. This is the specific number of people that we expect. So we expect this. So it was generally kind of on a larger scale, as opposed to the one that I was organizing in my campus. Like it was a developer oriented ecosystem event. So let me call it that way. But now it's similar, kind of similar to what we were doing previously in my campus as a community lead. So that is when I got into the role. I've just highlighted a few of the things, and so that I can come to conclusions, so that I can get questions as well. So after that, they opened the software engineering internship program, and that is when I applied, went through the interviews, and got the role. So currently I'm under the Windows team as a software engineering intern, and still a student at Dekut. So yeah, I think in a nutshell, that is it. I got to also do a lot of learnings, a lot of commitment and dedication while in campus, sleeping in school. For them that might have seen my story on X, I shared it some time back. You can go and just scroll somewhere. I will find it where I shared about my journey, how we slept in school. We've slept a lot of days in school, like overnight, trying to upskill, trying to learn this JavaScript and trying to learn these technologies. But to cut the long story short, I'm open to questions. Yeah, you can find my story out there. Some people might share with you on regards to my journey, and that is my journey and how I got into Microsoft. Yeah, and I'm really having a good experience here at Microsoft and learning a lot. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. So I think what I get from your story is that the main thing that you need to have is the curiosity and the determination. In short,
Yeah,
kujituma.
very true.
Yeah. So personally, I've gone through something like that because I remember even first year, I was once what you say, like a shy kid, and I had reached out to you actually. I was interested in machine learning and AI. So I actually reached out to you and you helped me with the resources. So I use that to learn and also I also help to share those skills to the with my members. So with the curiosity that you have, you can do anything because I remember even when I was learning, I was using a Chromebook. So it was kind of tough because you had to run like one Jupyter notebook for a single project. But I pushed on and now I'm better. So
Wow.
we are also live on YouTube. So even people from YouTube, you can ask your questions. I had some few questions, so I can ask in the meantime before other people give other questions.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're getting started, according to you, what is the best way to figure out where to start? Because
You're breaking. You're breaking, Eric.
sorry, can you hear me
I
now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I was asking when you're getting started in tech, what is the
Yeah.
best way to figure out where to start? Because for the
Mm-hmm.
sessions
Mm-hmm.
I've attended, we have been told that you can choose one niche, focus on it and learn it deeply, or you can get started with anything that you're interested in, and then ukifika huko mbele, you now decide what is inakufurahisha.
Sure. That is yeah. You can use both approaches, but now how what I normally advise, and this is mainly for them that are listening and they are yet possibly you might be young in your career or you are getting started in tech. I normally advise the aspect of first generalization, then specialization. In that, in case you are passionate about tech, but you don't know where you wanna end up, you can start by first generalizing, like trying this, and do not waste a lot of time in generalization. Like, do not try everything. Like in about 2 3 years, you're still doing this and trying this and trying this and trying this. Take some short time, 1 year at max. I would say 1 year at max. Just try to get into web development for about 1 month, or try and see how web development works. Even you don't have to go 1 month. Some people even go a shorter time. You can just do like research. Go and see a day in a life of a web developer, a day in a life of a cyber security engineer, a day in a life of an AI engineer. What they normally do. Do not just look at the lifestyle, just what they normally do in their day, and you'll get to see that. There's something that will be exciting, or something that will be you'll feel it's passionate, or you'll feel the spark. You'll feel that this is something that excites me. So I normally advise start by generalizing, or if it's possible, you can do a very short 1 month research of trying to see or trying to see what Rust developers do or backend developers do, what because you cannot really classify a language because that is just a tool. So we normally actually, in case you are thinking about struggling about a language, that should never happen because that is just a tool. But if it's stuff in regards to the specific stack, like I want to get into AI development, research about AI development, research how AI engineers normally do what they normally do, watch even documentaries. I guess I really watched a lot of documentaries about AI. I remember even watching this documentary known as AlphaGo movie. It's just on YouTube. It was quite exciting, and I was like, "This is my field of interest." So, in the course, you'll find what excites you, and then I also got to try web development, building, and I saw, wow, I can build web applications and also integrate AI into them. So I was like, I think software engineering stack plus AI really, instead of me building my own models, remember that time even I didn't have a very powerful computer. So I was like, I can try these and then integrate the existing models and something like that. So you can try uh, check out different stacks, different fields for a small period of time, generalize, like try and do a number of things, then you'll find your spark, you'll find what excites you, and then now you can now focus on that. And as I've said, the maximum you should go is about an year, so you have all the time, like to, it depends actually with also your goals. If your goal is to get a role faster, you can decide to specialize, but you might find yourself getting that role faster but doing something that does not excite you. So first try and generalize, try these out. Even I remember I got into even programming with Rust. I even wrote a blog post that was featured on Hashnode, but at the moment I recall nothing about Rust development or working with the Rust programming language. So as I'm saying, find what excites you as you're doing your research, as you're exploring different fields, and then after you find what excites you, now dig deeper into it. Start, have a roadmap, start checking, even exploring different documentaries about it, like see what the different developers are sharing about that specific stack, see what people are saying about it. Then if it's cyber security, start seeing what tools can I start working with, what can I have installed in my computer. Possibly they say if you're working with this, you better work with this specific tool, you better work with this tool. So start exploring those tools, and I believe in the long run you'll find yourself now excited in something that is, some bit of things, other things, but you also deep into that specific thing that excites you. So I think that is the way I would advise anyone, or a way that I think works for many. So but you can yeah, I think that is my advice on regards to that question.
Oh, nice, nice. You have explained it so well. Yeah.
Mhm.
So the other question I had, what does learning in public mean to you, and how has it
uh
shaped your career?
Wow, that is something that is quite key, because learning, building in public really comes in handy, believe you me. Because I remember, as I said, last year when I got into that previous role that I was in, that is Microsoft Garage and Ecosystems, I did apply for that role. I was reached out because of what I was sharing, and how I was leading the community. So learning in public and building in public really comes in handy. There is this term that we normally use for developers who build their own stuff, like they are not we, or they are mainly known as like bedroom developers. Do not be a bedroom developer. More so in case you are building or you are in tech, in case you build something cool, and the worst that you can do is just build it and have it on your GitHub repository and just have it like that. So that might affect you, because you might have something cool that someone expects, or a company is building, and they are like, wow, we need to make use of his skills. So in case you build in public, someone, believe you me, someone will notice you. It might not be the first post or the second or the third one. People might not notice you for a long time, but in the long run, someone will notice you. I remember sharing, when I was sharing about even looking forward to working at Microsoft and stuff like that. It took about 2 years, 3 years, just sharing on socials about what I'm building, what I'm doing. I'm glad that I got to be reached out by a few clients, people who wanted to be built for web applications or different platforms. So building in public really comes in handy, as I'm saying, because I remember even the first client that I got, they called me and they're like, I've been referred to you by this person, that you can do this and this. But and the person who had referred me to them, even you have not been in touch on WhatsApp or in that is we've not been in touch even with our contacts. They have just been seeing what I've been doing on social media. So people will spot you, people will see what you are doing, and there's nothing as exciting as when someone sees, assuming it's a recruiter, they see like today they see someone because of the algorithm. You know, social media there's the algorithm. They're just scrolling and then they see someone has posted hashtag D1 learning HTML. They just ignore. Possibly they'll not like because it's like, oh, they have just seen the post. Then later, after 6, 7 months, they see they come across your post again and they are like, oh, wait, this guy is in there. I don't know hashtag the what. And they are now building a fully fledged application and they will see one, they'll see consistency because they this time even they'll be interested in seeing who is this person because the first time they made their post or they got to interact with their post is when they were sharing day one, and now 7 months down the line this guy is building application and then someone is sharing online. So that really comes in handy. People will spot you. You might, and this is something I normally say, in your first initial post, in case you're starting out even on social media, you might not find people liking it, but or you might not find a lot of likes, but just forget about the likes. Just make sure that you've at least shared something, because when you share in the long run, someone will come to see, oh, this guy started here. I still have my post for day one when I started HTML on X. I remember I still have that post, and I normally go to reference it every time when I'm talking about my journey. If you go to and search hashtag day one, that is you'll find that post where I shared my day one. So learning and building in public really comes in handy, and you'll even get people to support you in the course, because I got a lot of people who supported me in my journey as well. That is as I started that is now when I got even into development, people who supported me in the course, yeah, by answering and responding even to my questions. In case you have a blocker, you can share it on Twitter, people will respond to it. Yeah, so I guess that is my response to that.
Okay, nice. I think a problem that people have with learning in public is that you have some sort of imposter syndrome, in that you see that the project you have done is not big enough to show out there.
Sorry.
Okay, I'm saying the
Yeah.
the problem that people have with learning in public is that you see that the project you have done, it's not like big enough to share out there.
So, yeah, there's that feeling of like, more so someone who's starting out HTML and they're like, people are already doing React and next years, and I'm sharing about HTML. You do not mind about people, and that is one thing I normally say. It's your account, so you can just share. It doesn't hurt. Like there's that feeling of an imposter. Like also the aspect of feeling like I should not be sharing. Like I'm not the right person to be sharing content, or I'm not the right person. It's your account, so it's even though people does it or people ignore your post or something like that, do not mind about that. So I think that is something that people normally have, which I didn't mind about. And as you can see, I continued growing on social media as well. So when people see your journey, at times they are also inspired, and they see like this person was starting from 6 months. That is 6 months down the line. This person started here, and now they are here. It also inspires a lot of people to get started. It also makes others see that you are consistent. So do not fear about sharing about that. Do not feel like an imposter on social media, like the tech Twitter, and you're like, people are skilled here. We have seen engineers, and you're sharing. That should not be in your mind, and that is something that people should not consider. As that is what I would advise, because it's your account. Just share. Yeah.
Okay, I get that. So I have a final question.
Uh
Then
huh.
I'll open the podium for everyone to ask a question. I
Sure.
think I've given everyone the presenter mode. So if you have a question, you can unmute yourself. So the last question: what do you think do recruiters or companies like Microsoft look for
Yeah.
in people beyond the technical skill?
Perfect. So the other thing that they look for besides the technical skills, and these are actually not only recruiters but also interviewers, they look for the aspect of communication, collaboration. And when I say communication, I don't mean about fluency, how fluent you are, but how good you are in involving people even and explaining, like assuming that I want to explain an untechnical term to a technical person, how can I explain a technical term to an untechnical person? How can I explain this product which is technical to an untechnical person? So that aspect of communication, how good are you in communicating things out? How good are you in like thinking outside or thinking is it called thinking aloud or something aloud? I think thinking aloud. So like how good are you in that? So that is something that recruiters look for. And when you go into an interview, for instance, you'll be asked about, tell me about a time you handled conflict. They will not be expecting, okay, I don't say that you lie. I'm not saying that you lie, by the way, you should not lie. But in case you don't have a day that you have experienced something that you can share about, you can try to show that in case you got into a conflict, this is how I will solve it. So that is why I'm saying that in case I mean this thing about behavioral interviews, mainly they are to test such skills, because I think that that is something that I would say it's only that I have a conflict with something else. That is why I'm also thinking about something else that I've received. That is another meeting that I should join urgently. But one thing is that communication is something that they look for in how good you are in communication, how good you are in collaboration, and this goes to the interviewers. If you go to an interview and you're in that interview setup and they are like how can you solve this specific data structure, they expect you to involve them, because one thing is that you're not solving it, they are there to see whether you can also involve them as you're solving it. So in that you can start solving this, and then you can ask for even clarification questions from them. That brings the aspect of communication and also collaboration. So those are things that they look for. Besides the technical skills, you also have to be a bit technical. You understand that this is how I can solve this question in Python, or this how I can solve this specific problem in this specific language. As I said, languages are not. It's not something that you should consider at the moment. Like we should not talk about. Even I should not receive a question of why is Python better than JavaScript, or is this? That should not be a question, because that is a tool that anyone can just learn. It's just a tool you can work with. But how good are you in solving that specific problem? How good are you in solving a specific challenge that you've received? That is using any tool that you can use. So that those are things that they look in interviews, and there are more. There are others in terms of the soft skills, how good you are in working with people, the work culture, and something like that. But those are the key things that I will advise for now. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah, so working with those organizations usually involves working with a team. So the soft skills and communication skills are really important. So I think now I'll give an open chance. So if you have a question, you can unmute yourself.
Hello,
Hi, Alex, or who has
uh,
said hello. Yeah.
I'm Newton. My name is Newton.
Oh, sorry. I've seen, yeah. Firefox. Yeah,
Yeah.
Newton.
So my question is,
Yeah.
how can beginners like us prepare for opportunities in AI, cloud, and other emerging fields?
Just a minute. I respond to this kindly.
Okay.
So you've asked how can you beginners prepare for AI and other emerging fields. I wouldn't
Yeah.
say you prepare for all, because I don't know whether you're preparing in terms of getting into those fields. Are you preparing like in terms of our career aspirations, or?
How to integrate AI? AI is something emerging, right? So how can I
Yeah.
integrate it as a beginner for opportunities in the future?
So at the moment, I would say, because you've said about the opportunities, so it's not like you're focused in getting into AI. You want like to how you can integrate it into your workflow, right?
Yes.
So I would say, so are you a cloud developer? Like, are you a cloud engineer, or you want to get into a specific field besides the AI
I'm a
integration?
I'm a first year student and I want to know my path in tech and I'll just
Okay,
ask a question. Yes.
perfect. So AI is a new thing, by the way, and it's a current new. I would say it's an exciting new term, in that when you say this thing is AI powered, this tool is AI powered, it's an exciting term. But I would say for now, focus on, as I've said, what excites you, because as you've said, how can you integrate AI into a specific workflow? AI might be an exciting term, but it might not be where you want to end up into, because in the long run, you might find yourself in front-end development, back-end development, Android, and you'll find that is when, after you find that stack, that is when now you'll be asking the questions of how can I have AI infused into my specific tech stack? How can I have AI infused into my specific career? So at the moment, I would say, do not worry about how you can integrate AI into a specific workflow. Be part of this community. I believe they normally share resources, and they normally have sessions for different tech stacks. They normally have sessions even in inviting other speakers. For now, I would say, as I said initially, you can try different fields. Like you can try and explore this field, explore this field, explore this field. After you are good with a specific field, then you can think about the aspect of now involving AI. In case you want to get into AI purely, you can get started with AI and flow with it. But in case you want to infuse AI or just have AI into a specific stack that you possibly might be trying to figure out, you can start by generalizing. Then finally think about how AI can be infused into your stack. Yeah.
Yeah, that answers my question.
You're welcome, Newton.
Can I ask another question?
Can we get other? Okay, we can first get other questions that are for people who have not yet asked, but I'll be willing to respond to your question later, so that I don't also have a conflict on my schedule. Kindly.
Okay, okay, okay.
Do you have any more questions? I don't. I
Okay,
think
I
on the
guess
chat.
Alex.
Okay, hi everyone, and hi Mark.
Hello, Alex.
So, yeah, first of all, I want to thank you, Mark, because I know you've played a very big role in our community since DevFest 2023. Yeah, that's when we came to start and grow our community. Yeah. So I have three questions. The first one is, how do you handle like rejection? Because I've also been following you since the start, and I've seen that you're also posting some of the failures that you had, e.g., getting rejected as a GitHub campus expert, and you also had this spreadsheet where you used to post certain job applications that you applied for. How do you handle those rejections? The second question is, how do you balance, let's say, how did you balance communities, life, work, and also skills? I mean, how do you manage the balance between school and all that? And the last one, there's a day that I was listening to a podcast. I think that time you were in second year. It's just a podcast I found on Spotify, where I think it was Ndiga who was being interviewed, the technical recruiter at Google, and you asked a question about how worth is the university degree. So I also want to ask you that same question that you asked during that time. How worth is the university degree? Because I understand right now you're still in school, but you already have a role at Microsoft. Would you say that the school has played a big role in that part? Okay, and the last one, what are your thoughts on vibe coding? Those are the questions I have. Thank you.
Let me try and respond to the questions that I remember, and then you can correct me in case in case I forget of a question. And you've asked a lot of questions. I was expecting one question from you. Then you can ask the rest when time allows. So which one will I respond to first? If time allows, let me respond to the question on regards to rejections, how we handle rejections. One is that I've gotten a lot of rejections, in that even I remember documenting, as you said, I have an Excel sheet that I shared on even on X. And as you can see, I was also sharing my rejections on social media. I remember sharing that one spreadsheet. It was quite long, and with about 80 fields, or I don't even remember how many, but of rejections only, tracking company, the link of the role, and the level, if I got to any level, and a lot of them were rejections and ghosted, rejection, ghosted, rejection, ghosted. So how you handle that? First, look back and see what has made me get this rejection. I'm not bad technically, because when you're applying for that role, you knew that you are good, or you met the job description. You're not bad technically, but what might have led to their decision of rejecting me? One thing, that it might also have been they're looking for people working in this, because I remember even some of the roles I was applying, they're saying email or something to do with you have to be physically located in this location. So there are some things that I kept on kind of looking back and seeing what might have been the reason they have rejected me. Now this is trying to console myself, like when you're trying to say like, I know they have not rejected me because I'm bad, but they might have rejected me because of this reason. So try and look back and first see what might have been the reason. It's not the reason why they rejected you, but what might have been the reason. And this reduces that pressure of like, oh, seems like I'm even not worth of applying for these roles. Because when you keep on thinking about that, eventually you find yourself giving up in tech and things like that, because rejections will always be there. So when you try and look back and see, they might have rejected me because I'm not bad, but because I don't reside in US, or I don't reside in this. And the other thing that a recruiter will tell you is that most opportunities, most people are rejected not because they're not good at them, but because there's someone who applied who is better than possibly them, or they might have an additional thing, like they might have a master's or a PhD that makes them stand out. And that is now where I was going now to even the question of how what the degree is. So in case someone has an additional merit, you are all balanced in terms of the technical aspect. He's better, no, you're all better in using a language. You've worked on very concrete projects, you've worked on very good you have very good experiences, that is for your backgrounds. But they have something that is additional that might have made them stand out, and you might be rejected and feel like, oh, they rejected me and they have this and that and that. Not because you're not good, it's because someone who got the role might have additional merits, or might have something better that made them stand out before the recruiter, or before even the interviewer. So one thing is that when you are rejected, do not take that rejection at heart, because if you take it at heart, you'll just wait for other rejections which might break you. Because I remember even there's a time I was so annoyed by rejections that I remember my first post, when I posted about the rejections, I was so annoyed about them. So a lot of people came and talked to me about the same. That is why I'm sharing. Do not put them to heart. Just kind of enjoy the process. Do not, one thing is that you might be excited, really excited about the role, but do not really see yourself, do not start imagining yourself. It's good to be to have faith, and also to have the zeal, but not start even imagining yourself in that office, or you've already started receiving your tasks from the manager, and even you've not yet gotten to the interview, you've just applied for the role. So that might be natural, but if you focus on that, getting a rejection might break you. Because I remember one of the as you said, there's a GitHub Campus expert. That is one thing that I wanted to join, like at heart. I remember when there's a day I was sleeping, and we've done the applications. I've already gotten the first initial stage, and I remember this time I had not even been referred. I think I got to know about there's a referral program or something like that. And I applied, and I had gotten from the first initial application, I got to pass, and I was told to submit a video, and now we are waiting for the results. I was so like, and that is even about community. It was even not a role for a company or to work at a specific company, but I was so into it that I remember even that, yeah, as I wanted to give you to tell you that I remember this day before even the results came out in about a week's time. I remember even dreaming getting the email of like, congratulations, you are now a GitHub Campus expert. Like, I was so into that. And it's not a role, it was just a community leading session. I really wanted to become a GitHub Campus expert. So I was so into it. And when the rejection came, remember, I was so into it. When the rejection came, that really affected me. I was like, I was so affected by that. And imagine that is not a role. So in case you put the rejections or you put them at heart, they really might break you, and they might feel like you're not worth applying for other roles, or even you are kind of, you might feel bad about yourself. But just flow with the rhythm. If they come, ignore what has happened, continue working on your skills, do not stop, continue looking forward to getting into those companies, or continue looking forward to getting into that role in future. Even when that role opens again in 3 months, apply for it again. If you get a rejection, like, even Microsoft has really, even before I got into Microsoft, I've really received a lot of rejections. I was showing one of my friends here, because I had the previous email address that I was using for applications. I was showing them the rejections, and they are like, wow, you are really into getting into Microsoft. So I had a lot of rejections from Microsoft as well before even joining Microsoft. But rejections does not mean that you'll not end up in Microsoft, doesn't mean that you'll not end up in that company. So besides the rejections, I even remember telling them that I changed my email address from this one to another one, because I thought might have been blocked by the system, that when they see the email address, they just give me a rejection. So That didn't break me. I continued pushing, I continued being ambitious, I continued skilling, and eventually I got the role. So because of time, I may not respond to all the questions, Alex. Kindly, so that I can have some few other questions from the rest, so that I will respond to them. In case of any other questions, I'll respond to them. I can share with I think we can have a part two for this, and then I can respond to the questions that I may not manage to respond to. Kindly, I have about 5 minutes.
Okay, thank you. I think what you can do that so that you cannot conflict your schedule, maybe you can share something, maybe like a LinkedIn, where people can contact you to ask further questions.
Sure. Let me share my LinkedIn in the chat section. For them that are joining us via YouTube, they can you'll just share it with them,
Yeah,
and
I'll do so.
I've shared it on the chat section.
Okay. I don't know. Is there any burning question before we close the opportunity?
Yeah, we have just one. One question that I can respond to, so that I don't go past my schedule, and I'm even trying to extend some time here from the meeting that I'm to have now. Yeah, you can send your. I've shared my LinkedIn. Let me see let me find my X. You can also try reaching out to me via X. I think LinkedIn would be best because you can just I don't think there might be any other questions.
Yeah, yeah. So there's no other questions. So for me to thank you for finding the time to talk to us. I hope people have been motivated and they know what to do. So even
Oh,
I
I
thank
see
you
there's a
guys for
question that
finding time.
Eric, kindly, there's a question you added in the chat section. I'm just in the section, the chat section. Will
Okay.
AI replace developers? Not anytime soon. That is my response, because from my experience at the moment, what I'm working with, I don't think AI can do that at the moment. I've tried it with Copilot, and it's really helping, but at the moment, I would say AI is not yet advanced enough to replace developers. It's enough to do your boilerplate code for you. Like you can go on Lovable and get that initial boilerplate code for or even that initial UI. But in things to do with if you go now to go to real development, performance, infrastructure, the system design, the architecture. I cannot do that at the moment. Security, that is something AI cannot do at the moment. So it might have knowledge about it, but in terms of development, it's quite off. So there's still some time for them that are getting started. Do not fear about AI replacing you. There's still some time to still perfect on the skill and even get the job and even get to the industry. We don't know what will happen in future. We'll just pivot in case something happens, but it's still early. Yeah.
Okay, I think you can breathe a sigh of relief because of that. So as I was saying, thank you for finding time to talk to us. We wish you the best in all that you are doing. Yeah. So
Thank you so
guys,
much.
thank you for finding the time to join the meeting, and we'll have some more. Yeah.
Thank you so much too for the invite, and looking forward to interacting further with you. And even in case of any questions, feel free to reach out. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, you can leave at your own free will. There'll also be a recording on YouTube. Okay.
Okay, Eric, can you talk about Code Kesha ya Kesho? Like, what are the plans?
Oh yeah, before I forget. So kesho tutakuwa